If you want to know the home selling process here within Arizona, you want to stay tuned for this video. Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Josh Zuniga. This is my beautiful wife,
Sabreezuniga.
and we are here to talk to you about the home selling process. Now, if this is your first time selling a home, wonderful. You're going to learn a lot of information on how this process works. If this is your second or third time selling a home, this is going to be wonderful information to remind you of how this process works and make sure we give you all the details, for that as well. Okay. So the first step when we actually meet is what Sabree's actually going to go over, and she's going to go over the details, and then I'll chime in on the ones after that.
Yeah, so once you decide you're ready to sell your house, you'll meet with Josh and I. We'll actually come over to your house. Once we get there, we will kind of walk around your house, take a tour, get all the details from you about what's gone on in your home while you've lived there, or even also before you lived there, the whole history of the house, and then also if you've gotten, a new roof, new appliances, new flooring, any updates, new water heater, anything like that. We want every single small to huge detail of your house that we'll put into the criteria of your home. Once we figure out all those details, we will decide what's best for you. If you need to have any repairs done, if you need to do any painting, things like that, and how long exactly it's going to take you to get all those things done. It could take a week, it could take 2 weeks, it could take a month. It's really up to you and your time frame and what's important to you. Once we have all that figured out, Josh and I will schedule our media team to come in. We have 3 different videographers, a couple different photographers that'll come in and video and do photos of your home. And then once that's done, we will list it onto the MLS. And we also have different platforms, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, that will put your home out to the public and market it so that we can get as many eyes on your house as we can.
Yeah, and when we meet with you in person, we'll definitely go over what our full media stack is, because it is unlike what a lot of people do. And we like to say that we have a very good social presence, on Facebook, Instagram, obviously YouTube when they're watching this video, and we want to explain how we can do that on top of doing ads. And then they also get creative, and we'll show you examples of what we actually done, but it's unparalleled from what we see from a lot of agents, because a lot of agents don't even do professional photos, which is actually shocking.
Horrible.
So we just want to make sure we're giving you the best foot forward when it comes to media and actually marketing your home.
Yeah.
But once we have it marketed and we're actually going live, at some point in time we will receive an offer. All right. And we'll go over you exactly what the comparables are going to be for your actual house, what the price is going to be, what the actual sales have been within the last 6 months, and then what the actual price is going to be for you, and then actually the average days on market, just to set expectations for you, okay? Once we set up those expectations, once you receive an offer, whether that's in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, it all really depends. We have the option to either fully accept the contract, or we have the option to actually counteroffer, whatever that is. And we can usually counteroffer on price and terms, and we can go back and forth with a buyer as many times as we can in order to actually get something that we all agree on. Once we have full contract acceptance, usually the very next business day, the buyer will like to actually open up escrow and then deposit their earnest money. It also opens up the window for their 10-day inspection period. Now, during this 10-day inspection period, the buyer can actually cancel for whatever reason and get their earnest money back, okay? Now, during this inspection period, they're going to hire a home inspector to go through the house. They're going to hire potentially a termite guy or a pest control. They're going to do HVAC, roof, whatever they want to do within those 10 days. And then they're going to give us a copy of those reports, right? Once we have a copy of those reports, they're also going to send us a document that's called a BINSR. A BINSR means Buyer's Inspection Notice Seller's Response. And on that document, they have to submit within those 10 days on day 10. They're going to list the items that they want us to address or fix or repair, okay? As an example, if say there was 5 items that they listed and those items were $1,500, okay? We have the option to say, Mr. or Mrs. Buyer, hey, we'll fix all of them, we'll fix some of them, we'll fix none of them, we'll fix some of them and give you a credit, or we can just give you a credit of the $1,500 and we can give that to you at close, and you can do with it as you please, once the transaction's fully closed, okay? Once that's fully said and done and we actually agree, we can move on to the next step, which is actually going to be the appraisal, and Sabri can touch on that.
So yes, like Josh was saying, the lender is going to order the appraisal. The appraiser is going to come into the home, do the appraisal, send it out to us. Once we get that back, it's either going to come in at contract price, which is amazing, perfect, continue on with the process. It's either going to come above contract price, which we won't know. And then, or it could come below contract price, which once we're there, we'll have to renegotiate with the buyer to either have the buyer come up to whatever the appraisal is, or we have the decision as the seller to come down to the price, or we can also negotiate with the buyer and come in the middle and negotiate like a different price where we both agree on.
Yeah, and just to give that a better explanation of like what the numbers actually looks like. So say as an example, you know, we were in contract price at 600,000. If the appraisal came in at value, which is our contract price, it comes in at 600,000, which is great. If it comes in at 605 or 610, we will not have that information because the buyer legally does not, or the buyer legally owns that appraisal report. The sellers do not. They'll just say it came in at value. If it comes in below value, say it came in at 595. Well, just like what Sabre was saying, the buyer can either come in with $5,000 in cash, the seller can either come down $5,000 in contract price, or potentially we can meet in the middle. Seller comes down 2,500, buyer comes in 2,500, and then we can move on with the process. If we can't figure out and negotiate at that point in time, then the buyer actually has the ability to cancel with an appraisal contingency and get their earnest money back at that point in time as well, just like they are able to cancel during the 10-day inspection period.
Yep.
But once we wrap up that position, then we actually want to go through the final walkthrough. Final walkthrough for the buyer is going to be anywhere from 24 to 72 hours before we actually close. Before that, the title company will most likely reach out to you the week of closing to sign your seller docs. And you don't even have to come into the office. We'll actually send a notary out to your house. It'll take 10-15 minutes. You sign your docs. They go back to title. The buyer signs their docs, and then their down payment will actually be at title. And then once the lender reviews all the docs, the signatures and initials, they will fund the actual loan. And then once it's funded, the title company will initiate it to record with Maricopa County, and then it goes into a queue. And once it goes into a queue, it's just a waiting game at that point in time to see exactly when we actually record. And then once you record, congratulations, we just sold your home. Now, there's a lot more details that are involved when it comes to selling your house, but we'll go over that when we actually get in front of you and actually have a listing appointment and go over our media stack and let you know exactly what your house is going to sell for, the timeline, how we're actually going to be marketing it. And it's also going to be through this process through you the entire time. We like to make sure that we communicate as much as possible, or sometimes even over communicate when we actually have a listing with you. And we're just super excited with that because we know what we offer is, you know, unparalleled to a lot of whatever the other agents have. And we're just super excited to offer it to you as well. So if you guys are interested in listing your property here within Phoenix or the greater Phoenix area, Scottsdale, Peoria, Goodyear, Gilbert, Chandler, we're here to help. And we can't wait to see you in the next video. So take care, guys.